Have you been wondering what you can sew for Christmas? For little gifts and for stalls? Well, today I'm going to show you how you can make something that's really good and sells quite well. So if you get your fabrics ready from your stash, we're always sewing out of our cupboards, then I will show you how you can sew smart for a Christmas gift. So this is a little shopping bag. Now it just looks very plain. It has a flap on the top here, which I will open up. That's just decorative all the way around there. But when I fold it, I fold the sides in to there and the side into there. If I fold the handles down, bring that right down to there, bring that piece into there, fold it nice and neatly, button it, and there you have a lovely little shopping bag that will go into your glove compartment or will go into your handbag. This piece is purely decorative, it isn't a pocket or anything, and the button here is just to hold this flap up, so when you've got your shopping bag you're holding it, this piece doesn't get in the way of anything, so that has an extra button there just to hold it. So we'll begin. We will need fabric for the actual bag, we will need fabric for the handles, and we will need fabric just for the fold up case that sits stitched on the front. So for the main bag you will need a rectangle piece. I've just cut across the fabric, so I've got a fold at the bottom of Christmas fabric. That will make the main bag. I've got two pieces I've made up for the handles. Now the handles, I just fold that down there, the handles are formed by folding in 1/4 inch on each side of your strip and fold it in half. You can sew inside out and sew 1/4 inch all the way around, but I find there's a lot of difficulty when you've got quite a length turning it inside out, so I prefer to do that, stitch around the edges. When I come to the end I just turn it in 1/4 inch and sew across the bottom there. That makes it pretty firm and looks just as good. So I've got two pieces for the handles, and then I've got a contrast piece for the outside of the bag. All it is rectangles, and what I've done is I've taken a 2-inch mark from there to there, put a curve on the corner at that point, marked it and trimmed around the corners on both sides to get that nice little curved edge to fasten. I should have mentioned you would need two pieces of the contrast fabric. I just cut it out obviously from the folded fabric, but you will need two pieces. So I'm going to first of all start with the pocket, what I call the pocket piece, and the straps. So I'm going to stitch, pin and stitch all the way around. I will start on the side here because when I come to the end I will need to turn it inside out and I need a gap to turn it. So I'm going to stitch 1/4 inch all the way around when I've pinned it, all the way around, turn it right side out and give it a nice press. And for the straps I'm going to do exactly as I told you. I've folded my straps over and I'm going to stitch 1/8 inch all the way around and give those a good press too. So they are the first two pieces that you need to sew. I've stitched around my straps, they're all ready to go. I've turned this to the right side. I'm leaving this gap open. It doesn't have to be closed because it will be caught in when you stitch it onto the main bag. But the next thing is, of course, I need to put my two buttons on here and here. So the easiest way to do that is to half it, to fold it in half and find your center line, and I've marked 1 inch from the top here and 1.5 inches from the bottom there with an iron off pen. So the next thing I'm going to do is I need a buttonhole here. I'm going to stitch a button on there. It doesn't need a buttonhole, that one is stitched onto there, but this one has a buttonhole, or you could use Velcro, but I prefer the button. So I'm going to now show you how you can put a buttonhole on your fabric. So this is your buttonhole attachment, but to get the right size buttonhole you have to slip your button in the end piece and snap it in so it's nice and snug. This little piece here in the middle is what clamps onto the foot. That's where the normal foot is fixed onto your machine. So I'm now going to put that under my machine and I'm going to stitch the buttonhole. I have marked roughly where I want to start the buttonhole and to finish. So if I start it there, I know that this size button goes on there. I did it on a scrap piece of fabric earlier, so I know it's the right size. I've got my beginning of my line that I've drawn just in the middle there. There's a little point in there that you line it up with. So all I'm going to do now is I've chosen my buttonhole on my machine, what the kind I want, and I'm going to stitch it on. And here is your buttonhole. You just have to snip that open and that makes a nice buttonhole with a rounded edge. My buttonhole is finished. I'll just show you that this slips right through the buttonhole, so it's nice, looks okay on the front and on the back. So I'll stitch that onto the main fabric, but I am going to just stitch the other button, this one I had using on the machine. I'm going to stitch that on the bottom there. I've sewn both my buttons on. This one has got the buttonhole and this one is just through the one layer of fabric. Now your back fabric, mine, I had a long piece of fabric, so I cut it on the fold here. I don't need to put a seam across the bottom there because I've got it on the fold. But if you've got two pieces and you need to join them together using a 1/4 inch seam, you need to allow an extra 1/2 inch at the bottom here. So all I've done now is I've pinned my top pocket piece on just here, and it's 2.5 inches from the bottom. I halved it, folded it in half, folded this in half as well to get the center, very center piece, and it comes out smack in the middle of the button on both ends. I've pinned this on now. Now if you remember, when we turned it from the wrong side to the right side, we left this gap. As we sew around here now, we'll just catch this gap in here so it won't come adrift. I've measured a line which is 8 inches from the bottom and 3.5 inches from the top. I've just drawn a friction pen line on there that will iron off. All I'm going to do is sew around this rectangle piece, not the flap. It will only sew up to here and across there. I do like to do a double line of stitch across there. Make sure the corners are nice and secure as well. I've stitched the buttons on, both of them. They just go through on the one side, and so that's nice and secure now. And this is my fold here at the bottom, which I have either got a fold or a seam. All I'm going to do is pull that up, put the top together, and using a generous 1/4 inch seam, I'm going to sew from the top down both sides, just using that generous 1/4 inch seam, and then I'm going to zigzag the edge so it gives it a bit more strength, and then I will turn the bag inside out and show you what happens next. I've stitched the side seams and just zigzagged over the top, finished them off. I've also turned down about 1/4 inch on the top raw edge, because the next step will be, you can see you've got your bag facing and everything in there. The next step will be, I'm going to turn this down to the wrong side about 1 inch, 1.25 inches, and I'm going to stitch around here and around there using a 1/4, you can use 1/8 if you want, but I'll use a 1/4 inch stitch on both sides. And then all I'll have to do is attach the handles on the inside on that. To put the straps, the handles on, I've stitched that down, as you can see, turned it down the top. Now I've marked the halfway point here on the board, and I'm going to attach one strap there, one handle there, 2 inches that way, and this one from that center line is going to go 2 inches the other way. I'm going to pin those on there, bring them right to the bottom of the turnover, and just sew a square around there nice and heavy. Put 2 lines of stitching across the top as well when you go around. Do that on both sides and then your bag is finished. Handles now I've put on and they are attached nicely here. So all that remains to do is for me to unbutton that. Now remember, you just button that up while you're shopping so it doesn't flap around. So all I need to do now is turn it over, bring the sides in, just so you can see that edge. I will turn this end in to the edge on the facing there. I'll bring the handles in. And then this side in to this seam line here. I'll fold that up to there, the top over there, button it up. You can tidy it up, probably pull yours in just a little bit better than I've done that here. And there you have your fold up shopping bag. That was the original and this is the second one we've made. So that's our little bag, our fold up bag finished. I've enjoyed making it and I hope you have too. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe and go along to the Etsy shop where the pattern for this bag is, because it gives you all the correct sizes and instructions on how to make it. And I will see you next time with another small project that you can do for Christmas.